My name is GillianTyler. I arrived in Thetford to returning home from college and being abroad, and met David and Linda, and they were enthusiastic people. They didn't talk much about theater right off, but as we got to know each other, we learned that that was one of the things they loved, and they even had in their house a little stage that we were able to, to sport our imaginations on. So we had a good time down there. I don't know how many years that lasted, but that was the beginning. And then we were hired by the state to go and talk to children around the state. And we got into a little van or a little bus and went to all sorts of back country towns. And that was interesting. That was very interesting. And played theater games with children in the first to third grades, I guess. It was good. That was good. That was the very beginning. And then, then of course, we looked at this building and saw that it was being used by the Grange, and said, but it's not being used very much by the Grange. Does the Grange think they could possibly let us use this with them? And, I think they were a little nervous about these theater people, but they eventually said, okay, that might be all right. And we offered to repair things that were not, in good shape at that time. And all there was a one-holer, so the plumbing wasn't the problem. And we started putting things on and moving their desks away, farther away, and then farther away. And then using the stage, which I believe was here at the time, that original stage, and putting on shows. That's how it began. Those of us who went on the school touring, we spent a lot of time together on buses. And you get talking about what would be fun to do. And I think that's where that seed grew. So, and we didn't talk about what kind of theater we wanted to do specifically. We just sort of said, well, one would say, let's try this, let's try that. And we, as I said, had been doing things like that at the Strohmeyer's house. So now that we had this bigger space, we thought, we can branch out. So it was good. It was good. I'm not a talker.
Yeah.
That's the side of me. That's why I'm an actor, liked acting. So I didn't have to be me, I could be somebody else, and I could talk. People can express themselves in ways that they would never do in normal life. Yeah. I never would have thought that it could endure with such enthusiasm. We had no idea. We just were enthusiastic ourselves, and we were dying off or going away, one of us, here, there, and the other place. So there was always a question. I think there were little blanks in time. Not much was happening. But it was still there. The core was still there. So it got going, thank goodness. I think there was a big question with the Grangers about whether they should really let us use this space. Because for them it was a very religious space. It was very small. We didn't have much outside help. But the community began to get interested and would come and wash the floor, whatever, small things. And then the Grangers, this building was not in great condition. And they didn't have the money to look after it. So we offered to do some repairs. And they were delighted. So we had as much use of it as they could possibly give us. What else to tell you about that part? It was a small group of people, but we were all enthusiastic. And Linda had a lot of background in theater, so that was good. And I had quite a bit. So between us, and then the guys came in with perhaps less theater background, but a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of talent. So we got started in a good way, and enough so that the community seemed enthusiastic, and we felt good about going on. It we all had other lives to follow. So we couldn't do theater, one play right after another. We had to go off and do our work and share the burden of getting things going. But as the audiences got bigger, I guess we left our work sooner. I don't know how it happened, but we had more people working, and so it's been going consistently for quite some time. There have been little, hiatuses, but it's been going fairly consistently for a long time. Theater meant a lot to me. I started in high school with a woman who was a very good actress and knew Bernard Shaw personally. And so we did lots of Shaw in the school I was in. And I was just taken with theater. It was just, a thing. I couldn't have lived without the parish players. I would have died on the spot without the parish players. No, it saved my life. I mean, here I was visiting my parents and not knowing what my next step in life would be. And the parish players was a saving grace. And also, since the minister of the town did me a kindness by marrying me, I didn't leave. I didn't go anywhere. And he liked theater very much. So it worked. It was a good machine. That's it, I guess.
Well, it probably was the long Christmas dinner. Certainly, that was one of my introductions to it. I knew it was here. I had lived in Norwich with my late wife, Nancy, from 67 to 77, and sort of was aware of, what was going on in Thetford, the way you're as aware of what's going on in Sharon or something like that. And then come back here. I've had property right here on Lake Fairley ever since that time, and come back, and each time I hear about the parish players. I may have gone to one or two shows. I do remember going to the early origins of Opera North, where a Gilbert and Sullivan production here, maybe more than one, and how much of that was parish players and how much it was Light Opera of Norwich, how much of it was, under whatever name, but it was in this building. And then the long Christmas dinner came just after my late wife died, and it was just natural for me to sort of fall into place in that cast. Mm-hmm. And nice people. Yeah.
That was done in the church.
Mm-hmm.
It was perfect in the church, but it was a cast of parish players.
And then also here, I think, too.
Really, I don't remember.
Yeah, but definitely done in the church. And the first time it was done, I was not around for it, but the second time.
Oh, right, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And then Gillian was in the same congregation that her husband had been the pastor of, and he had left that pulpit. But so she was spouseless, and I'd been sitting near her and was now spouseless, and so we ended up
respoused.
Respousing, and without almost 100 years worth of married life behind us, just to someone else, and have been happily involved in happily married for 3 years. But that provided opportunities, access to various plays and musical stuff. Becky Bailey got me into something here on something Greek. I think that was King Priam and Tiger at the Gate. Would that be? Yeah.
That is a play.
And then a couple of 10-minute things where I had my great opportunity, because I can't remember lines at all, to have the cast as a patient in the infusion room of a hospital, and in conversation with the patient in the next bed, and having as my prop a copy of the New York Times, Well, in the copy of New York Times in my prop, I had my entire script on the inside, so I felt very comfortable. It's a very accepting place.
I just want to say, I am thrilled, I'm just tickled to death that this theater is so lively. Even, I mean, it's just bursting with life, and I'm just so excited about it. So, I feel proud, and I just enjoy it. It's just great.
She did the original sketch of Poncho, and I still don't know how Poncho as a name gets into this.
Well, it was David, I think it was David Stromer. It was a wood engraving, just on a small block. And it looked very much like what you see outside on the poster. And just got named, I think, by David, Poncho.
Okay, but you
Poncho.
had done the wood engraving?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I did the wood engraving. The engraving happened. I mean, I did the engraving as sort of a dramatic figure with a sword, that was all it was. I didn't know anything about Poncho or have any background specific background in mind. And it was David who called it Poncho Loco, that's it.